Stay in the loop with the biggest moments from the European Parliament.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, and good evening, honourable members. This evening we are here to honour the memory of Jan Kuciak, an investigative journalist, and his fiancée, Martina Kushnirova. They were murdered in Slovakia 7 years ago, in February of 2018. This followed the killing of another investigative journalist, Daphne Caruana Galizia, in Malta a few months earlier in October of 2017. Those assassinations were a terrible shock, not just to the families and friends of Jan, Martina and Daphne, but to all of us. Like Daphne, Jan was a courageous and pioneering investigative journalist who specialised in corruption, money laundering and similar scandals. Investigative journalists like Daphne and Jan were at the forefront of their field, forging ahead with bravery to reveal the truth and to inform the public of that truth. These selfless acts exposed them to risks and, tragically, ultimately, to their deaths. No journalist should ever have to sacrifice their life when pursuing the truth and serving the public. The growing rates of harassment and intimidation of journalists, or even threats and sometimes acts of violence, are not part of the job. They can never and should never be justified. Upholding media freedom and protecting journalists is a critical plank in the protection of our democracies and the rule of law. To honour the memory of Jan, Martina and Daphne, the Commission has taken concrete action in recent times to strengthen media freedom and pluralism, to provide enhanced protection for journalists and to shield them from abusive litigation, so-called SLAP cases. The European Media Freedom Act came into force on the 7th of May 2024. It seeks to protect media pluralism and independence in the internal market. The Act includes unprecedented safeguards for media and journalists against political interference, as well as rules facilitating the operation of the media across borders, free from undue pressure and benefiting from the digital transformation of the media space. And the European Media Freedom Act will provide protection to journalists against surveillance and the use of spyware. The President has entrusted me with the implementation of the European Media Freedom Act, and I take this duty very seriously. We are preparing for August, when most provisions of the Act will become applicable. We are in the process of analysing all national frameworks at the present time. Exchanges with Member States are ongoing. The aim of these readiness checks is to make sure Member States bring their laws into line with the European Media Freedom Act. On Monday, the new Independent European Board for Media Services held its first meeting, a milestone in the implementation of the European Media Freedom Act. The board is comprised of national media regulators and aims to strengthen cooperation at EU level, including against third country disinformation. Independent and diverse media across the European Union are pillars of a healthy democracy. As we continue to build the European Democracy Shield, it is vital that media remain free, pluralistic and protected. Journalists like Daphne and Jan provide essential input to a robust democratic space where citizens can access the diverse, high-quality information that they deserve. And the Commission has taken more measures to protect journalists. The recommendation on the safety of journalists, which was adopted in 2021, established a new framework of standards. Its core principle is that Member States must create and foster an enabling environment that is conducive to journalism. And with the anti-SLAPS package, we want to ensure procedural safeguards for journalists in their work, because journalists should spend their time doing their job, a job that they love, investigating and serving the public space with information, and not fighting baseless court cases that are only designed to interrupt and interfere with their work. We must tackle abusive court proceedings that are only intended to harass and intimidate journalists and human rights defenders into silence. And the Union will do this through the directive providing for procedural safeguards against lapse in cross-border civil proceedings adopted in April of last year. The Member States are now expected to transpose this directive into their national law by May of next year, and I take it as my sincere responsibility to oversee the implementation of this directive during my mandate. When transposing this directive, Member States have a unique opportunity to strengthen the protections against lapse by going beyond the minimum harmonisation and scope set out, and to cover also domestic cases. The complementary anti-SLAPP recommendation is already being implemented, and we follow very closely the work in the Member States. From the beginning, the need to defend media freedom and plurality has been embedded in the Commission's annual Rule of Law report. The report provides a detailed analysis of the media environment in each Member State, from the independence of media regulators to transparency in the distribution of state advertising, to the independence of public service media, to threats against journalists, enabling the Commission to issue recommendations every year in the areas of greatest risk to media freedom across our Union. It is based on genuine dialogue and cooperation with a wide variety of state authorities, independent bodies and stakeholders, in particular organisations representing journalists in every Member State. Placing media freedom in the report from its origin has permitted us to identify gaps and has led to the adoption of the EU-wide initiatives that I have spoken about, that would never have been proposed a few years back. Finally, as you may know, since last year the report also covers 4 candidate countries, sending the signal that media freedom and pluralism, including the safety of journalists, must be enabled and protected in these countries in line with the same European standards. And finally, Chair, I just want to express my thanks and appreciation to all of the members who ensure that every year the memory of the journalists who lost their life in the pursuit of truth and justice are remembered in this House, because it's important that we continue to uphold their memory and learn the lessons and respond to the tragic circumstances that led to their deaths, and that would never happen again. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.